very flattered, and I'm honored beyond measure or imagination. It's really a big deal to me. Serving on the board of regents was a great personal privilege and pleasure, a great opportunity for me, way beyond any imagination of doing something like that when I was a boy and growing up and going through college. And you serve your community, you serve your state, you serve your university system, not with an idea that I'm going to be one day recognized for doing all this, but you do it because it's a good thing to do, it's the right thing to do, and you want to do it for the benefit of community, in service to your state, and for the young people who ultimately benefit from receiving an educational through the educational process. And it's again, it's really a high honor, and I was flattered beyond any thoughts whenever Dr. Johnston told me about the University System Foundation and their decision to honor me. I was on the Board of Regents. I was chairman of the University System Foundation. And we had a number of events, and we recognized some folks that had done significant things in the state. But I'm very, very flattered to receive. Frankly, feel a little undeserving for all this, but I'm privileged. I had a meeting this morning in this very conference room with some community leaders, talking about the college. Dr. Johnston was here as well, talking about the college. And when I was called to serve by Governor Perdue, I, again, was very flattered and surprised that he had chosen me to serve on the Board of Regents. But I enjoyed my service. It was a very deep dive into a very strong commitment about educational processes. We live in a wonderful community. This is a great place, as all of us know, sitting here. But we're a long way from the center of the political universe, which is Atlanta. And it's at the time when I was asked to join, we had a 2-year school here. It became my mission, and it had been a thought all along to try to transform this from 2 to 4 years. And a very long story short, we were able to do that. But it was not just Jim Bishop doing this because I was on the Board of Regents, but it helped a lot. The community embraced that thought and became committed to that thought. And through a lot of work on the Board of Regents and from a community perspective and through other regents who supported the notion that this part of the world would be entitled to a 4-year educational opportunity, it worked. And it was a big challenge, almost a full-time another job if you do it correctly. But there are others, in our community that work hard for the benefit of those who live here as well. This is a wonderful place to live and to work and to raise a family. I have children, I have grandchildren that have been born and raised here, and there are many, I'm making this longer than you want it, but there are many here who, but for this college, would not have an opportunity for a 4-year college degree. We got the finest nursing program in the country, right across the causeway. I'm from Alma, Georgia, a small town, about 75 miles from here, small community. I had an identical twin brother whose name was Henry, and we were raised in a small town, and our parents worked hard. My dad was a small town funeral director. Just told somebody that a few minutes ago, by the way. And so my mom and dad worked, and we were fortunate that they delivered us to the University of Georgia back in 1960 and dropped us off, and they left to go home thinking that, well, I'm not sure we're going to be able to afford for the boys to stay there, but the good Lord delivered, and we were able to stay there. And then after college, and I enjoyed my time at the University of Georgia, by the way, small town. It was, it was a different place, a bigger opportunity for me, but I was really blessed. I got up early and I stayed up late and I worked hard to try to do to do the best I could do in order to enjoy the benefits, the appropriate benefits, that were available there. Then I decided to go to law school. After my first 4 years, I dated a young lady from Alma, Georgia, by the name of Mary Rollison. We went together for 4 years in high school. She was a cheerleader and I was a captain of the football team, and we enjoyed our time together in high school. And then she went to the University of Georgia. We graduated, and then we got married, and decided to go to law school. And she and I moved to Macon, and we worked. Both of us worked our way through Mercer Law School, and it was a real adventure. Both of us worked. She was a home economics major, and she taught home economics in Macon. And I worked for a clothing store, then another clothing store, then a law firm. Worked in the summers at the same time, and then we moved down here to practice law. But I thought the University of Georgia and the university system, the University of Georgia was a wonderful place. The University of Georgia Law School is a great law school. The University of Georgia in Athens, there's a building called the Tate Building, named after Dean William Tate, who was the Dean of Men, who was there when I was there, and was a good friend of mine. And broke his heart when I decided to go to Mercer, but it was the thing to do at the time, and I had some thoughts about maybe going back to law school, but once we were making, and I really enjoyed both. And ultimately became involved in, after graduation, with Mercer, was named to the Board of Trustees, and then chairman of the Board of Trustees. I was actually chairman of the Board of Trustees and on the Board of Regents at the same time. Couldn't do them both, so I decided it was time maybe to migrate from one. So anyway, but two good, fine schools, one private, one public. And the University of Georgia nowadays has just become an incredible school. And Mercer is still a great school. Let me say that it's important everywhere. It's important in Georgia because, for instance, here, the College of Coastal Georgia. I've sometimes used an example. I was a member of one of the local clubs here, and I was out talking to this young man who was actually working as a part-time assistant at one of the clubs, and I was talking to him about I was interested. I'm always interested in young people. If I see people working wherever they are, I don't go in many stores, but if I see somebody working, I'm always interested to find out, what's your life like? It drives my wife crazy. She said, "What? Come on." I said, "Well, it's important to know." But anyway, I said, "Show me." I said, "Well, tell me what you're doing." He said, "Well, I'm going to the College of Coastal Georgia." Well, they don't College Coastal Georgia. We're going to college. And we're college. You out here? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Well, I'm studying." He said, "I'm in the business school, and I'm enjoying time out there." I said, "That's great. That's great. When you graduate, you'll have an opportunity to get a fine job." And he looked at me and he said, "Mr. Bishop, I'm not interested in a job. I'm interested in a career." Go figure. That says it all, and that's what young people here who would not otherwise have an opportunity. We've got the finest nursing program in the country over here. Every nurse that graduates from this school, and I think out of all the nurses that we've had graduate from this program, only one has failed to pass that nursing test. And that whoever that nurse was took the second time and passed it. But we also got a fine health system here, and who would hire every nurse that comes out of this college program, but they look for opportunities wherever. So I'm chairman emeritus of the Hospital Foundation, so I know a little bit about that too. But the college offers people like this young man a career opportunity, a job opportunity, others opportunities. I see it all the time, and that is first generation college folks are so incredibly appreciative, and they get up early and they stay up late and they work hard at the college in the college programs. And they're usually your best students. And some of them, go on to University of Georgia, go on to some of the, Georgia Tech, graduate programs. I had somebody tell me the other day about a young lady who's going to Duke from here, and Duke's a pretty good school. Not any better than Georgia, but it depends on who you're talking to. So anyway, that's a real blessing to me. It's interesting. The way this college got its name, it's been through a series,
Yes.
Brunswick Junior College or whatever. Anyway, after I was appointed to the Board of Regents, the chancellor asked the senior vice chancellor, a fellow named Rob Watts, to come down and visit with me, and we talked about leadership out here, and we talked about the college. And he said to me, he said, Regent, they always addressed us as Regent. Regent Bishop, we need to change the name of the college. I said, do we ever? Yes, we do. And he said, let me give you some thoughts. He said, there's the College of William and Mary. There's the College of Charleston. What do you think about the College of Coastal Georgia? That's how the college got its name. Because we're down here on the coast, we're midway between Savannah and Jacksonville. A lot of folks, I was just talking to somebody from Charleston a minute ago, about that. And, Charleston's a wonderful place.
It is.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville's a wonderful place. Savannah's a great place. I was there, Saturday night. But there's no place like Brunswick, St. Simons, and see, you may have seen, may have heard about all that's going on over in Brunswick nowadays. And there is a lot that's happening in the city of Brunswick. And I think some of that has to do with the migration from the college itself, about, Skip Mounts and what he's got. By the way, Skip Mounts was recruited. He's the dean out here of the ministry. He was recruited down here from Mercer. He's a fine. We got fine instructors, great teachers. Well, it's like any other foundation. Our foundation out here is the College of Coastal Georgia Foundation. Again, I was meeting this morning with some of those folks. Its mission in life is to serve to benefit the college and connect the college with the community. And for the most part, foundations do that. Several years ago, there was, anyway, over time, some have been good, some maybe not have been so good. Ours here has been very good. The foundation, University System Foundation, has always been a terrific organization. It's the board members on there serve to benefit the foundation, which benefits the colleges of the university system. And to have annually an event for the benefit of boards of foundations where they can come and they can visit with one another and just see that there is a collegiality among all of the colleges and universities and the foundations. Now, independently, Georgia Tech Foundation's a big deal. University of Georgia Foundation's a big deal. They will all be there at this one meeting. In the South Georgia College may have a small foundation. We have a foundation here. To be honest with you, our foundation here is probably as active as any foundation in the state, save maybe University of Georgia, maybe Georgia Tech, maybe one or two others whom I don't know now because I've been out of it so long. And when I was on the Board of Regents and served as the chairman of the foundation, we had a couple of big deals in Atlanta. and the format has changed somewhat because I think they felt like having a full dinner for several hours probably wasn't the best format for an event like that. So it's changed a little bit. Still, the purpose is the same, though. And could the colleges and universities in the system exist without a foundation? Maybe they could, but they wouldn't want to. I think the foundations add a lot to a college and university experience and the dynamic that exists between the faculty, not the faculty, but the administration, maybe in some respects, but the administration and others who have a overwhelming and a continuing substantial interest for the benefit of the college and or university. We started off with ground zero. Right after I was appointed to the Board of Regents, I asked the Chancellor to because I knew there was interest here in this only remaining to a 2-year school but there was more interest in the community of it migrating to 4 years. So I asked for someone to do a study, and the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor appointed a fellow named David Morgan to do what I refer to continuously today as the Morgan Report, which in the purpose of the report was to see if this multi-county area down here could support a 4-year school. So David Morgan was appointed. He came down, met with me, and I said, your mission is to be totally, completely objective. And I said, I want you to talk to everybody you can find in this community on and off the campus who both support and oppose establishing this as a 4-year school. And I said, the important thing is we want to make sure that if the university system decides to grant this 4-year status, that the programs that we develop would be able to sustain itself in our community and in the area that we serve. And it's a multi-county, I think, I can't remember the exact number of counties, maybe it's 8 or 9 or something like that. So that's what he did. He spent a lot of time preparing a report, and he visited everybody he could find. He had both and he couldn't find many people that opposed it, but there were some who thought, well, I'm not so sure it's the thing to do. But it's hard, it's hard to oppose something that would be as progressive and positive as that would be. So anyway, when David prepared his report, I had to find the right timing with respect to delivery of the report to the Board of Regents. So I asked the Board of Regents if they would, occasionally they go off-site to a meeting. Not often, but occasionally they go off-site. So, and it's a big deal. When you migrate that whole enterprise, at the end, if you've never been to a Board of Regents meeting, you ought to go to one. I mean, it is a big deal. And at the Regents office in Atlanta, and it's a big enterprise. It's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. And so, but you start moving that whole, I mean, it's a big deal to move it from, off-site. So anyway, they agreed to move it down here for me, and I had some enhancements with it. I had one of my colleagues on the Board of Regents said, be too expensive to come down there, Bishop, because staying at the Cloister Hotel. I said, I got other places, the King and Prince Hotel, I got a special rate for you. And at the hotel, Cloister, a special rate. So we came down, and we had our meeting in the G8 room over the Cloister Hotel. Now, if you've ever been in the G8 room, that's a pretty impressive place. And that is where we had the Morgan Report delivered. I think the future of higher education in Georgia is in wonderful shape. It's excellent. We've got good state leadership. Our governor is a fine governor, and he supports the educational system, the educational processes, and he's all over it. And most governors are, because if you compare our university system with other university systems, we're a little different. All of our state colleges and universities are under one system. Most states, their own colleges, they have their own little systems, but we're not. We all essentially get fed out of the same spoon, out of the same pot. And the formula for doing all that is important. It recognizes those that are doing the fine jobs, the good jobs, and most of the colleges and universities in our state all are doing very, very, very well wherever they are located. So I support that, overwhelmingly because of the fine leadership we have. The chancellor we have today, Steve Wrigley, is excellent. He's doing a wonderful job. He has a lot of experience, in state government, and is doing a phenomenal job. Those who serve on the Board of Regents nowadays, and there's some new appointees. I don't know all of them, but I know most of them, and they are fine appointments and serve wonderfully. Don Waters, who just rotated off as chairman of the Board of Regents, is from Savannah. Saw Don on Saturday night, and I know the extent to which his commitment has been and continues to be to the system. And these are people who are so devoted and dedicated and give all day, sometimes all night, to the system. And you don't just every now and then show up for a board meeting. There are committee meetings, and you need to be attentive to the committee meetings and pay attention. You've got excellent staffing, but the staffing can only do what, at the end of the day, what the Regents support. And they can't very well support unless they are well informed. And being well informed is main mission one for the university system staff. I feel really good about the College of Coastal Georgia. I think it has a place within the system, and I think because of where we're located, number one, and again we're way away from the center of the political universe, but the offerings down here, the opportunities we have, not just for those around here, but all over the state of Georgia. I mean, if you're living up in I got nothing against Calhoun or Rome, all right? And they got good colleges up there, by the way, all right? But if I kind of want to get away, get away from home, maybe, it's like kind of like going to camp down here. If you come down to the coast, this is a beautiful, wonderful. Our campus over there is just incredible. And if you have Jekyll Island, St. Simon, Sea Island, all things here that are very attractive for a college student, as long as we can make sure that our offerings here are as good as they are today and will only get better. Well, I think we offer, 43 baccalaureate degrees now? I see that increasing. I see the synergy between the college and the culinary community here, really, really embracing each other and becoming more an opportunity for students who are interested in that kind of thing. So I think it's wonderful. When we first started thinking about the College of Coastal Georgia, and I started making speeches all over creation about how big I thought it was going to be, you always dream big, and I've always been a big dreamer. And that is, if we can't, why can't we? And as long as we continue to get the commitment from the system itself, our community, again, around this table today, I had a half a dozen community leaders, and this community still takes nothing for granted. I take this college personally over here. If I have a legacy in this community, it's over here. So everything that goes on is important to me. I was assured by all who participated in that search process that Dr. Johnston was the leader that we needed in this community with this college. I've had lots of opportunities to meet with her one-on-one and in group, and she was sitting right over there this morning with her, and she's always available, number one, but always, she is, I think, wonderful. And I think hopefully she's going to be here long term, because I believe long term we're going to be in really good shape. Otherwise, through resources, and her leadership here is to me, very important. And the leadership at the top is always critically important in any organization. And I think she has what it takes to be our first-class leader here.